Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, let's go ahead and take a little peek at the today's topic video. It's going to be for the 28th of July. We've got the Eight of Pentacles. We may have somebody that is really dedicating themselves right now to something important. You notice that we have someone getting a tattoo of a German Shepherd, so loyalty is very important to this person. A tattoo is pretty darn permanent as well. This can be a message of like love, fidelity, or this can be something that, maybe somebody is getting a meaningful tattoo, something that matters to them, or it's somebody that is promising themselves, I will dedicate myself to this kind of like pathway in life. Now, the thing is, we're already at an Eight of Pentacles. This is looking really good. This is somebody, they're not at the beginning of a journey. They're pretty much already like well invested. So this isn't a starting point per se. This is a character who's already in a, pretty far down the road of a connection, or their intention has been set quite some time ago. We've got the Inspiration of Wands. Inspiration of Wands is that that spark, that creativity, that passion. What I'm feeling like is somebody is getting like new invigoration for something that they already were going to do, something that they already have cared about, something that they've already been committed to. We get the Two of Wands. Yes, there's always a choice, but you notice how we're using that telescope to look in one very specific direction. What is this is about? I'm loving the fact that a character seems so confident. 10 of Wands in the reverse. It's about like, I promise myself I will continue to heal. I promise myself I will continue to let go of a burden. I promise myself, every day I'm going to make a positive choice for me to go toward peace and healing. And we have the Awakening, which is the Judgment card in any other deck. It is sideways. I promise myself that I move forward and that, I will absolutely find that sense of peace. I will absolutely find that sense of, forgiveness for myself. I really feel like this is one character, making sure that they themselves focus on what they want, focus on the direction that they'd like to go. We have the Hermit, somebody who walks a particular path of silence and solitude, but we're coming to the end of that silence and solitude path. I feel like this could be a character who's about ready to like say, I'm reemerging. I've done my dark night of the soul. Here I am. I'm back. Now, what do they want to do now that they're coming back? We're picking up the storyline like a character has already put a lot of focus on their healing journey, and they have already made huge progress, but they're about to communicate again. We've got the Eight of Swords. We got the Eight of Pentacles. So we go right back to that Eight of Pentacles again. This is something that a character had to overcome. They maybe felt very trapped, very stuck in their mind, didn't know what to say. They needed to find the right words. Four of Cups. Missed opportunities. Okay, so I'm going to say it this way. I believe we have a character who is ready to talk now. There was some kind of conversation where they got tongue-tied. They didn't say what they should have. They didn't reveal a secret that they should have. Possibly to a Queen of Cups. I think this is more than like, I wish I had just told her that I loved her. I don't think it's something quite as simple as that. I think that there was like a whole element of somebody's like life story that they didn't want to convey. And I'm going to say him, because we have a lot of masculine energy coming off of these three cards. So I'm going to say that we may have had a divine masculine who has done some dark night of the soul. He could be a Virgo, by the way, or a Scorpio possibly. But he didn't want to reveal a part of his life. He kept it a secret. And that's been a regret. Why didn't I just tell her? I had some stuff I was stuck on. I had some stuff I was embarrassed of. I had some stuff I didn't feel good enough about. I had some stuff I needed to go and work through. I had some debts I had to pay off. I had got myself into some trouble and I had to deal with some legalities. Why didn't I just tell her that? Why did I keep it a secret? Now I want to tell her. I want to tell her what the real situation was because they definitely have a regret with that Four of Cups. Why didn't I just come clean with her? Well, now they're in a better, like, mind space, heart space, more stable place as a whole. I can see why now they're ready to go ahead and talk. You know, it's hard to go ahead and say what you need to say to someone when you haven't felt good enough in yourself. Eight of Cups. They needed to just walk away for a period of time. But unfortunately, when you walk away without telling somebody why you're walking away, that can cause, some disrespect or feelings of sorrow to that Queen of Cups. Let me just ask, what did the Queen of Cups experience or feel if they walked away at some point in time and didn't reveal their secrets at the time? The World card, the Page of Cups, the Hanged Man, the Two of Pentacles, and the Queen of Swords. Boy, she got it. This says she recognized that she needed to move forward and have her own chapter of life. And she's like, if they ever come back in and say that they're sorry to me, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. In the meantime, though, they're obviously holding back from me for a reason, right? Hanged Man. They're trying to balance out something in their life, and I don't know what it is. They never told me. But they obviously thought about, if I stay with you, I'm going to have to tell you, which means they know exactly who I am. They know what my expectations are. And probably that means that they know if they ever come toward me again, it will have to be with the full story. And I think that I'm probably omnipresent in their, in their back of their mind. They probably know that. So if I ever hear from them again, it'll be because they want to tell me with full clarity what actually happened. And if I don't hear from them, it's because they don't feel like being transparent with me. So I'm just going to move on. That everything in me, my guides, all this, the synchronicities, all the symbols tell me move on. Because if they want to tell me, they will. And if they don't, I got to just let them do what they need to do anyway. They got to do their own life. Okay, so she really just got peaceful with whatever it was going to be, however this was going to go. Nine of Swords. And you know what? We don't see anger here. We see her saying they must have had a very stressful something or other. The fact that they didn't even want to share it out loud with me. You notice how we have this tender, this one person is touching the hair, the forehead of somebody that they view as being ill or something, resting in this big bed. And it's you know what? I just hope that they're okay. Nothing here says she's mad at them. She pretty much read the situation, I think, exactly as it was. If they went on some dark night of the soul, if they chose not to tell me what was going on, I know I wasn't scary or mean. I was only loving. And they know that too. So whatever they were dealing with was their thing, and they didn't want to share that burden with me. Well, all I can say is I hope that they figure it out. And I think that's where she left things. So she didn't carry anger or wrath. It's just well, I guess they had to go do what they had to go do. I wish them peace. I wish them harmony and, love and answers to whatever they're trying to find answers to. This masculine definitely walked away from her rather than tell her whatever his secret was. And I think she knows that there was a secret. There was something that he didn't want to share with me. So let's just ask, what is it that you want to share with her now? First and foremost, I wasn't a cheater or anything like that. Knight of Wands in the reverse. It was never you that I was unsure about. I wasn't out trying to find somebody else. The Hermit. I had to retreat. It's like he's saying, I had to go on this internal journey. I had this stuff that I had to sort out in my head. Ace of Cups in the reverse. I don't know. This person may have held a real meltdown or something of a lack of self-love. Maybe they really didn't want somebody to love them. they couldn't love themselves, and it just became a burden too heavy to carry. Maybe they dealt with some, we got the Eight of Cups. Maybe they dealt with some feeling of like they think that they're unlovable, or, at the time they thought that. And it was like, I had to walk away. I didn't want somebody to love me when I see myself as unlovable because maybe somebody else didn't love me. And I don't know, this person really, I'm not going to pretend like I understand exactly, the subtleties of what caused them to handle it this way. Star in the reverse, Queen of Wands in the reverse. I don't know if they dealt with a karmic at some point that made them feel like really bad about themselves, like they didn't have something to contribute. And they really let that get in their head for a while. That could be the case. And they just couldn't heal from it. They still felt, like unworthy or something of being loved. So they didn't want someone to love them. And I can understand kind of why they wouldn't have said that to her. Like if this is what their secret was. Because how do you explain that? Strength card. I don't think that they could until they pulled back, did some inner work, and got their own like balance back, their own personal strength back. I basically, what we're saying here, they were not in a place to be in a relationship. They weren't in a frame of mind to be dating anybody. And that's really what this boils down to. They were not in a place to be able to do that. And they made a promise to themselves that they would get right with themselves first. Now, of course, that does mean that everything else stopped. Now we see them saying, man, I promised myself I would really progress. And I said at the beginning, wow, they're already at an Eight of Pentacles. They're very far down this road of, course correcting their life, getting things organized. So the fact that they are possibly now ready to approach and say, okay, I'm done with the hermit's journey. I'm ready to come back into the light. I'm ready to talk about what happened. I'm ready. I've done a lot of work on myself. So now I can talk about what it was I had to go work on. Now, God, I wish I had just told her at the time I have to step away because I got to go work on me. They do wish that they had done that they had told her before, but I don't know if they could have verbalized it. So let me just ask, what are you hoping for at this point? You want to talk to her. Two of Cups. What I'm hoping for is that she can understand what I'm going to be telling her. That I wish I just told you before that didn't think I was lovable at the time. I had to stay away. I had to go work on me. We have the Empress upright. I really do think that this person in this storyline, they pulled away because they were more or less amazed, intimidated by this amazing, loving, Queen of Cups. They saw her as the Empress. And that made them feel very small inside because they already felt small inside before they met her. And it's like, I can't be with her when I feel so small inside. So I got to walk away. It's interesting how when we don't feel good about ourselves, then we okay, let's use this as an example. Let's say we just have a day where we already don't feel good. We've got a head cold, we're snotty and slobbery. We, got up late. We didn't get a chance to wash our hair or brush our teeth. We had to throw on whatever clothes we had. And then we got thrust into a social setting. And it's like, oh my God, my head is stuffy. I can barely even remember my own name. I look horrendous. I smell not too fresh either. And now I'm in this social setting and somebody else who I really wanted to talk to and be around, they are looking fabulous. They are looking fit, sleek, sexy. They just came from the salon. They're dressed in a perfect outfit. They're on point. Their thoughts are clear. Is that the time that we most want to engage with that person? Or would we just say, I need to go home. I have to tap out. I am not at my best right now. This was not the time that I should have shown up or been forced to show up in this setting, you know? I think it's, if we look at it that way, it's like all of our worst nightmares come true, right? You know, the dreams that, you know, we all have where we're running and falling and can't run fast enough, or the nightmares where, you know, you show up at your old school or something, but you know, you've got your pajamas still on. You know, if we all have that fear, that common dream where something we're just so not prepared for, something's not working. Only it's like that's how this person felt. It was actually playing out for them. I think that that analogy is the best way to explain why they walk away from somebody wonderful, because that somebody wonderful, which was her, was all well put together. And all it did was highlight how, you know, grubby they were feeling, how sad they were feeling inside. They're hoping that she will understand this because nothing was done to cause her hurt or pain. They didn't do this to insult her or to ignore her or to disrespect her in any way. In fact, if anything, they're really hoping that she will understand that all this time that they've stayed away and did that dark night of the soul, they were sad that they even had to do that. They were sad to stay away from her. They were sad initially, which is why they walked away, and then compounded it by missing her. I really think that they have a lot to say, a lot of this big reveal, and I think they're really hoping she'll understand. Look, from what we saw, she already does understand. She already knew that they were going through something, and she already wished them well. But they will have to tell her all of this so that she can, you know, really connect to them. On her side, we have the 10 of Cups. On her side, there's really no judgment. There's just like, well, are you feeling better now? It's really great to hear from you. Yeah, I totally get it. We all go through things like that in life sometimes. But it's good when we, you know, retreat when we have to, take care of ourselves when we have to, and then we're back in the game and ready to have some fun and ready to seek that 10 of Cups. So, you know, is that what you are ready for? You know, you want to do a 10 of Cups now? You want to go swimming with me in the 10 of Cups ocean? You want to have a better time now? I just feel like this is very non-judgy on her part and very, it's not even compassionate. It's just like she comprehends it. She kind of already knew this right at the beginning. It was never about her. She didn't take it as a personal affront. That's really awesome. It sounds like she has a really strong sense of like self-worth, but also understands how sometimes we lose that and we have to go find it and regain it again. All right, I'm going to leave this here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up. Bye.